I've got 762 days worth of expertise in travel. This is not necessarily tips on how to travel the cheapest, but this is how to be as efficient as possible. Me and another dad on the team had so many points that we were able to fly the whole team out there.
What are polos and what are slacks? No.
Metallica t-shirt, check.
Yeah.
Aerosmith t-shirt, check.
Yep.
Def Leppard t-shirt, check. Overalls, check.
They all fit in a Mariano's bag, so.
Yeah. And so I thought today we'd take a little bit of a departure. Most of us for business.
Nice pun.
Oh, that was accidental.
Yeah.
It was. That was good.
Hey, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Big celebration. It's also Valentine's Day, the day we're recording this.
Mm-hmm.
So happy
And
Valentine's
just to
Day.
be clear, my birthday is not Valentine's Day.
No.
But it's within the week.
You look great.
Thanks. So do you.
You're a whole year older, and you just look so much younger.
Well, shave a beard, lose some weight. That'll do it.
That's right.
Well, I was scrolling through our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I went back to our first episodes, looking at the thumbnails of the videos.
Yeah.
And how my face has shrunk, essentially. Because I get those.
Yeah.
I get those
We all
cheeks.
do. Yeah.
And then we put a beard on top of it. And so
No, it was crazy. For our 30th episode, when I was going back and doing a little compilation,
yeah.
even then, I was like, wow, whoa. Those Zoom cameras really, really add a couple 100 pounds. Oh.
Well,
Yeah.
what do you want to talk about today?
Well, what are you teaching me? I just want to learn, Bo. I just want to learn.
Well, I did something interesting. I use this app called TripIt, TRIPIT.com. Not an affiliate link. It's just an app I've used for the last 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you know all the emails you get when you book a flight,
Sure.
a hotel, and all that stuff. Puts it all in one place, and then puts it on your calendar. So it's really, really handy. But I've used it now for a couple weeks short of 11 years.
Oh, wow.
So since 2013, every trip I've been on, the data from that trip is in this app.
Ooh, trip it real good.
Yep. So in the last 11 years, I have...
Sorry to interrupt you. You want to Zen?
No.
Okay.
In the last 11 years, I've traveled 254,273 miles.
Wow. Look. Oh, man. All this data. When you realized you had all this data, man, I bet you just said,
Well, I'll tell you exactly what I did, but let me finish here.
yeah.
I've
Just
been gone
nerd
for
out.
762 days
Wow.
of the last 11 years I've
Yeah.
been traveling. 220 trips.
Wait, 762 days? That's like a year and a half.
No, it's 2 years.
That's
A little over 2 years.
within 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
So I've been gone over 2 years of the last 11 years.
Wow.
220 trips to 107 cities.
Wow.
And almost all of that was for business.
Was any of that out of the country? It wouldn't have been. No. Just curious.
So you know what I did when I saw that?
What?
I went and apologized to Autumn.
Yeah.
Autumn's my wife. I
Yeah.
went and apologized to her.
Wow.
I was like, I really didn't realize I'd been gone that much.
Yeah.
And there was a day when our kids were younger that I could tell, tone of voice kind of thing,
Yeah.
that she was, up to here with their frustration with having young kids and just being the mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I was gone. It was a stressful thing. And
Yeah.
then when I see the data on how much, like I went, I was like, I'm so sorry that I was gone this much.
I know. Wow. How long did you think? How long would you have guessed before seeing that data?
I don't know that I would have guessed. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I would have said. Maybe I'm gone, 3-4 days a month.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well,
Okay.
Is that the case?
So there'd be like 30 days. That'd be like 1 month.
762 days divided by 11 years of months, which would be 121.
Don't ask me.
That's over 6 days a month. So almost a week a month.
Yeah.
That's more than I thought.
Yeah.
Now, these days, that sounds about right. But over the average, over the last 11 years.
The kids were younger. And
and I've tried to be strategic about it, and not miss. And when I'm here, like, we don't miss anything. And,
right.
Games and such with the kids or whatever. But I was like, man, I'm really sorry that I was gone that much.
Yeah.
But she forgives me.
I forgive you. Let's go talk to the contractor.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I forgive you. Let's go build that house.
But anyway, I've got 762 days worth of expertise in travel. And so I thought today we'd take a little bit of a departure, most of us for business.
Nice pun.
Oh, that was accidental. But
Yeah.
it was. That was good.
Yeah, we'll arrive there.
Take a little bit of a departure and talk. Because most of us have to travel some for business. And I was even talking to our mother last week. Mom and Dad came over for my birthday, had dinner with us. They were leaving the next day.
Right.
And she kept bugging Dad, like, hey, gotta go. I was like, we gotta go. She's like, well, I gotta pack. I was like, packing's easy. And she's like, no, I gotta, she starts going through, our mother is very detailed.
Yeah. And her packing is pretty much nonstop.
So what I did?
What?
When they left, I followed them out to their car.
And you waved?
No.
Oh.
Then I suggested we take a picture after they got in the car.
Yeah.
And then as they were about to pull out, Autumn comes back with Maddie. And so they had to get back out of the car. And I was trying to stall their departure as much as possible. A little bit of payback.
Oh, that's great.
Because sometimes it is a little bit difficult to.
That's hard to leave.
To leave Mom and Dad's house.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But
it's
all in good fun.
To get out of there, there's always a bit of a delay.
And when the kids are your kids' age, there's always a shoe missing.
Yeah.
And so you're searching the basement and upstairs and all that stuff.
Right.
All that to say, I thought I'd share some best practices in travel that I've learned over 762 days of travel over the last 11 years.
I'd say you're an expert.
Yeah. There are people who travel a lot more, but I would say first thing, big idea.
We should have had Jay on this podcast. He's a freaking pilot. He's going to be an expert of travel. Anyway, yes, go ahead. Yeah. We'll have Jay on and do a reaction to what I share here. Oh, great.
And he can tell me how wrong I am.
I love it.
A pilot's reaction to travel tips.
And that gives you a bit more freedom to just say what you think with confidence.
This is where I'm coming from. I value time and comfort or convenience over saving $1. Okay. So this is not necessarily tips on how to travel the cheapest, but this is how to be maybe as efficient as possible
and enjoy it as much as possible.
Yeah, I even care about like speed and efficiency more than enjoying the travel process.
Sure,
traveling isn't necessarily that fun, regardless.
No.
But my first suggestion would be that TripIt app. There's probably other travel apps like that, but here's what this thing does. You have you book your hotel, you book your flight, you book your rental car if you're going to use it, whatever, and you get those email confirmations. Well, TripIt actually scans your inbox and grabs those confirmations and builds your itinerary within TripIt. So you can log on online through the website, or you can use the app on your phone, and there's your whole itinerary, all the confirmations, all that's in one place. Or you can, when you see those emails come in, you can just forward it to plans@tripit.com or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it all gets sent on one place, and then they put that itinerary on your calendar. And so it's all there. It makes that whole process really, really simple. And it's cool that they kind of like, if you forget to forward an email, like they'll scan and look.
Oh, yeah.
And grab it themselves and build your itinerary. And TripIt's free. They've got a pro version that's paid that, I think I used maybe for a year, where you can put in like all your, your points and all that stuff.
Like your miles and stuff?
Yeah, like if you have an account with Hilton and one with Marriott, and it'll link in with all those You know, what do you call those things? Like
loyalty points.
Yeah. It'll track all that stuff for you.
Oh, okay.
I didn't find a lot of value in that, so I just used the free version of TripIt and basically have for the last 11 years.
Yeah.
And it just simplifies like collecting all the data, putting it in one place, and you don't have to do it yourself.
All I've got in my head right now, I just got to get it out. Dun, 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 dun. Trip it real good. Dun, 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 Trip it good.
Trip it real good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me get that out. It really, since you first said trip it, it was, and I got to listen to you. Okay.
Salt and pepper. Salt and pepper. Is that who that
Salt
was?
and pepper.
Great. Okay. Next thing is let's talk about luggage and packing.
Yeah.
The key to air travel is don't check a bag if you don't have to. So the more you can get on your carry-on in that carry-on luggage, the better. I used to use a Tarmac 22 carry-on luggage for, I think it's by Eagle Creek or something. I loved that suitcase. I get a lot of stuff in it. It was easy to navigate through and all that. Finally wore it out, actually gave it to Will. And recently purchased what the airline pilots often use, which is Travel Pro is the brand.
Yeah.
And we can find out from Jay if that's what he uses. But I've got a new carry-on piece of luggage. And the whole key to this thing is it sturdy? You know, you lock it or not, whatever. I'm not really worried about that with carry-on luggage because I've got it the whole time. How does it navigate? Like this one in particular, my previous one had 2 wheels and you just drug it behind you.
Right.
This one has the 4 wheels.
Oh, yeah.
That you can
much better.
Just, you know, like it walks right next to you, you know.
You twist around.
And these have these little magnet things with the wheels that kind of keep it straight.
Oh.
Kind of like in a vehicle, if you're aligned well and you take your hands off it'll just continue on straight.
That's pro.
It was, pretty slick. So anyway, I've been pretty pleased with this. When it comes to packing, though, have you ever used packing cubes?
Yeah.
So cubes are the key, you know. I love this stuff. Throw your underwear and socks into one.
Zip it up.
And then you can just squish it into little nooks and crannies of your suitcase. What it allows you to do, essentially, is take things that you don't really have to worry about wrinkling, like undershirts and undergarments and socks and et cetera. And it just squishes it down, and it doesn't take that much space up.
Yeah.
Use a couple of those. Then, like, when you're returning, you can separate, you know, dirty clothes with clean clothes and whatever kind of... however you want to geek out about all this stuff. But it helps you save space.
I kind of throw it in a trash bag.
Yeah. You look completely miserable right now, by the way. But that's
Did you spray that thing for bugs? I spray it for bugs.
But garment folders, like a folder.
Oh, yeah.
So here's kind of what I do. If I'm going to go teach a 102 class, it's a 4-day course. I'm going to travel the day before. I'm going to teach for 4 days. And most of the time I can't get out that last day because of where we live. Yeah. You know, if I lived in a place with a major airport, I could get home that night, but I'm generally coming back the next day. Well, that's a 6-day, right? So I'll bring one suit that I'll generally wear on the first day. And I'll wear that suit sometimes on the second day. And then I will progressively get a little bit more casual throughout the rest of the day or the rest of the week. Sure. So one suit, I need at least 2 dress shirts, probably 3. And then depending on the weather of where I'm going, a couple polo shirts maybe. And I need the suit pants that come with it and probably two other pairs of slacks, 1 pair of jeans, underwear, undershirts, socks, workout gear, tennis shoes. And no problem using cubes and a garment folder, which is where I'll fold up my shirts and my slacks. And I put it into one little folder and it just squishes that stuff down.
Oh, that's nice.
And it makes it really like no problem getting all of that in that carry-on luggage.
Yeah.
And piece of cake.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
If I need 2 suits, I can still make that work, but it's a lot more difficult. Like it's hard to get 2 suits into that.
So the suit goes in the folder thing, the garment folder.
No.
The
shirts and the slacks do.
Yeah.
But the suit, I basically take the suit jacket. I like flip out one of the shoulders. And fold the other one inside of it.
Oh.
And then just roll it up. And when you bring it out, it'll be a little bit wrinkled, not a lot. And first thing I do when I check into the hotel room and unpack is I hang it in the shower, turn it on hot for about 15, 20 minutes, and it steams the wrinkles right out of it.
Wow. Who taught you how to fold it that way? Fold and roll it? Or did you come with that?
Some YouTube video.
That's great.
12 years ago, probably.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, piece of cake.
Cool.
Packing cubes, garment folder, and I'll get to this later. Like what I actually have a couple things I do as soon as I check into a hotel.
Yeah.
But I'll get to that.
Well, I got a quick question.
Yeah.
What are polos and what are slacks? No, I know what they are. It's just so funny. We pack so differently.
You're like Metallica t-shirt, check.
Yeah.
Aerosmith t-shirt, check.
Yep.
Def Leppard t-shirt, check.
Yeah.
Jean
Rolling
jacket,
Stone,
check. Yeah. You got it.
Jean jacket, both of them.
Wait, overalls. Check.
Overalls.
Yeah.
And they all fit in a Mariano's bag, so.
Yeah. That's right, you're Mariano's.
Mariano's grocery shopping bag.
So the other thing about packing I learned in middle school, in home ec class in middle school.
Yeah.
Was Miss McCullough. Is all your other garments, like clearly I do specific things with the garment folders but everything that doesn't go into a cube or something else, like I literally will roll it up as tightly as possible and I lay it at the bottom. Because most suitcases have sort of those dips in there, and I fill those. That's dead space. I fill those things up. Just try to get as much stuff in there, and I am totally a nerd about this stuff, and I get it.
You are. This is.
Here's a couple other things about packing.
Okay.
One is if you got a reversible belt, that's just one more weird shaped thing you don't have to pack. So reversible belts are your friends. And then pack to minimize the amount of shoes that you have to wear. Or in other words, I generally will bring a pair of like tan brown dress shoes, and I'm not packing anything that's black. Like I would not pack this outfit because I don't want to bring black shoes and brown shoes.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm glad I brought that up.
No, that's good. Some people might care about that.
Yeah, maybe so. But if I'm trying to get it into like one piece of carry-on luggage, these are the ways I make it work.
Yeah.
And then wear the bulky but comfortable stuff on your travel days. So if I'm going to bring one pair of jeans, I'm wearing the jeans on the travel day, so I don't have to pack something bulky like jeans.
Sure.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's it. The luggage section, the packing section, that's all my nerdy travel hacks.
It makes me think of that movie Up in the Air with George Clooney. Have you seen it? There's like the opening sequence just shows he's always traveling. He's going to business because he essentially is firing people. Like people hire him to fire people, right? Whatever.
Nice.
Yeah, that person is called. And so he's always up in the air. Hence the movie. But you see him pack his suitcase just perfectly, zip it up, just rush through everything because that's just his life is traveling. So that made me think of that scene.
Well, now I got to check that out.
Yeah, it's a good movie too. That's good. Yeah, okay. That's good.
Well, good. Next tip when it comes to travel is use an EA.
Yeah.
Let Alice. So I used to
executive assistant.
I would compare airlines and tickets and all that stuff. She does all that now.
That's
she knows
so great.
If I'm traveling for a course to teach a course, she knows, I'm going to stay in a Hampton Inn or a Hilton Garden Inn or that level of, if I'm traveling with Autumn, we might do something nicer, So she understands my travel habits. She knows I don't want a return flight that takes off at 6 a.m.
Sure.
So she just understands and she does all that for me. So like the whole use an EA and use the Trip It thing, like that all that happens. I tell her when I need to get there and when I'm coming back, and she does it all wonderful.
That's so great.
Wonderful.
So
Saves
great.
me a ton of time.
Yep. If anybody wants to see what all Alice does for Bo, you can watch this episode here or this one right here. There are 2 episodes about getting an EA, and then we even have her on. It's really great.
I've heard rumors that they've picked up 10 to 12 new clients from the Superpowers.
Really?
From that episode.
No way.
I don't know if that's true or not, but it sounds pretty good.
It sounds like we got a potential sponsor.
Yeah. That's even a better idea.
That is a good idea.
Okay, travel credit cards. I'm not particularly a fan of credit cards.
Yeah.
But I own my own business here, and we use a credit card to pay a lot of bills. We do that on purpose. We 100% of the time pay it off on a monthly basis, so we don't have, interest payments on top of that, and make sure we have a zero balance every month, all that stuff. But we use a credit card that is built to generate a lot of travel mile point things. And look, there's, we're not sponsored by any of these folks. I don't care which one you use or whatever, but you can Google best travel credit card or whatever, which is essentially what I did. I chose a business credit card that had a bunch of travel stuff, and we pay for all kinds of stuff through that credit card. And it generates hundreds of thousands of points every year.
Wow.
Which I use for personal travel.
Yeah.
So the business generates the points.
Yeah.
But we use the points for personal travel.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's great.
I get to teach in Hawaii in October. Autumn's going to go with me for the first time. I figured Hawaii would get her to go to one of these with me. And so we're going to use the points to travel out there.
That's great.
And if I have enough, maybe we splurge and do like first class tickets or something.
Yeah.
I don't know that we've ever done.
Yeah, right.
But
do you know any more when it comes to credit cards and how it works? Because that's something I've always been curious about. We've got a travel rewards credit card that we use every month and pay off. But it always seems like a mystery how to cash in on the points you use. But maybe I'm just dumb when it comes to this.
We use a Chase card.
Yeah.
All right. And we go to chase.com, sign in, and there's just, you can click like use rewards or something like that. It's pretty easy to figure out. And then it'll take you can redeem your points for all this stuff. We generally use the travel section, and you can book right there through, or have Alice do it.
Yeah.
Book right there through. And the nice thing about Chase in particular, this is the only one I know. Maybe all of the different credit cards are similar to this. I'm sure there's, but if you book the travel with your points through Chase, you get like a 25% bonus. Like, so 4 points are worth 5 points.
Yeah,
essentially.
Sure.
So there's and there's like other things that I generally forget about, like, if I use the card to get a rental car, Chase insures the vehicle.
Oh.
Like I don't have to get the rental car insurance from the or whatever.
Right.
There's all kinds of different travel benefits, like reimbursements if weather cancels your travel, or there's all kinds of different things. If I use it to buy a phone and I break the phone, like there's insurance, like replacement stuff. So there's a bunch of different stuff like that. And if you log on, all that stuff's detailed.
Yeah.
And you can.
I'll just look at the app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's worth it. Now I just get a little nervous recommending that anybody uses a credit card because it's so easy to abuse and get yourself in a hole. And
some people aren't credit card people.
The interest rates are onerous, just very, very tough. And, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble there. But if you've got a certain amount of financial maturity, then it can be a real benefit.
I had a friend that was so good. He knew everything about the points and how to get them and how to best use them. And it just blew my mind because we were grown up, like, never get a credit card. No credit is good credit. And it didn't pan out exactly like it used to. Like when you go to buy a house or something, it's like, oh, no, you don't have any credit. It's like, yeah, that's good, right? It's like, well, if you wanted to buy a house from our grandfather, That's really good. Yeah, no credit's good credit, but trying to get an apartment in Chicago was just a little different.
Yeah, that would have been a little different.
Yeah.
If you would have tried to get financing for a purchase like that in Owensboro with a local bank that knew us and stuff, like they would have done that deal all day long.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah. The other thing is like use your points. If you're going to have a credit card like that and expose yourself to the risk inherent with using credit, whether you forget to pay it off or, other fees associated with stuff, like use the dang points.
Is it a use it or lose it type scenario?
I think it depends.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in this space.
Sure.
But we've used our points for some pretty cool things over time. Like we've done trips with it and that's always fun. But my daughter's softball team went and played a tournament in Southern California 2 years ago. And me and another dad on the team had so many points that we were able to fly the whole team out there.
Wow.
So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So these points can be transferable. They can, I'm sure there's limits depending on what kind of points they are and stuff.
Sure.
But like we were able to do something pretty cool with the points. So last year when we did a tournament in Colorado, like I took the boys, so all 5 of us went out there.
Yeah.
And points paid for all that. Pretty much wiped out all the points I had left from the previous year, but got our whole family out there, and most of the rest of the team drove out there.
Yeah.
17 hours. It's like, thank you. So we flew out there using points. So just don't forget they're there. They're valuable. They're useful.
Right.
Noise canceling headphones.
Yeah. So good.
I've used even AirPod Pros. Those work great on an airplane. There are enough noise cancellation where it just sort of quiets all that background noise in your head that can really get annoying, especially if you're on a flight that's longer than 2 hours. Now, most of the time, I'm not on a flight less than 2 or more than 2 hours. If I go to Phoenix, I'm going to drive to Nashville 2 hours from here, and then about a 2-hour flight to Phoenix. Maybe it's 2.5 hours or whatever. I rarely go much further than that. And if I do, there's often a stop. So, a lot of times, hour and 45 minutes, 2-hour flights, all I have to deal with. Maybe a couple of those in one day, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But if you're on a flight longer than that, you want some noise canceling headphones, especially if you're like me and I don't really want to get to know the people around me.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm like that too.
I'm going to listen to a book. I'm going to do some work. I'm probably going to fall asleep. And I don't want to strike up a conversation, though that's happened before, and I've enjoyed those experiences most of the time. But it also helps if you're on a Southwest flight that isn't full, to go ahead and put the headphones on and put your mean face on can dissuade people from sitting in that middle seat.
Who are those people?
Well,
they need a friend.
Sometimes there's nothing you can do. And people are generally pretty apologetic. They're like, I'm sorry. Somebody's going to get me as a neighbor, and today it's you.
Yeah.
I get that. No problem. But one time, it was not nearly a full flight. There were plenty of aisle and window seats. Nobody had to sit next to each other. And I was like in the second or third row. I generally try really hard, whether I'm booking a flight with another airline where you actually get to pick your seat, or if Southwest, you don't pick your seat.
Yeah.
But you're in line, and once you get on, you just pick your seat and whatever it is. I try to get as close to the front as possible. And I try to get an aisle seat. I prefer an aisle seat. I've flown enough where the window, and I don't want to be in the middle, right? Yeah. So I'd rather be in the aisle seat up front. So if I can get like second or third row on the aisle, like I'm a happy camper.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I had this really, really strange woman, big personality. She was unhappy about her life.
Yeah.
She sits right next to me. I'm in like row 2 on the aisle. There's somebody on the window. There are plenty of open seats. Nobody has to sit next to each other.
Oh.
And she sits right next to me.
There's one,
in aisle 2. Because evidently she wanted to be in aisle 2 as well. And all she did was make a complete rear end of herself.
Yeah.
The entire flight. She was complaining about everything. It was just a terrible experience.
She probably saw your mean face and was like, here's somebody who can complain together. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, me too, man. Let me get that seat.
It was, and I was sitting there thinking, 2 hours of this. We should do a little segment later on about travel pet peeves, because I have some.
Most of the travel I've done in the past several years has been 8-hour flights, because it's been to Ireland.
Oh yeah.
Right. So, but a lady sat down. We had our own seats, but we were able to move because we had a baby eventually. But she sits down, and I've got my little shake drink, like Athletic Greens, whatever. And so I have my little drink, and it's like half done. She goes, "Oh, that looks gross." Like, that was her opening line. It was just like, "Oh, that's gross." I was like, okay. Like, what? Shut up. All right. Yeah. Hi. Okay.
Wait, that's it?
That's it. That was just, she said that.
I figured that was the first volley of
right.
More to come. Or
No. Some of my stories seem like there's gonna be more, but that was it. It was just like that. You're open up with that.
Well,
she ruined a potential friend in me.
Mm-hmm. And you're pretty easy to be friends with.
Well, I am. Yeah, I am somewhat of an extrovert, but I don't like people. I'm also very much Larry David. I love people that I already love.
Okay, next thing, and I think most people do that. Do this one inherently these days, but use the apps for your airline tickets.
Oh,
as opposed to paper tickets.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just easy. You can check in ahead of time. You can check in before you get to the airport, or like if you don't have checked luggage,
right,
and you're just carrying on,
mm-hmm.
you just go straight to the security line and go through TSA. So if you've got your boarding pass on your phone, which you can get using any airline's app 24 hours ahead of time, I think,
mm-hmm.
just straight through to security.
Nice.
And let's say you travel more than 4 times a year on a plane. I would go through the process of getting TSA Pre-Check.
Yeah. Then you just
have Pre-Check?
No.
It's
great.
It's great.
I always see that line with nobody in it while everybody else is going through
A couple times I've seen the Pre-Check line be longer than
mm-hmm.
the other, but even then it's still a good deal because you don't have to take your shoes off. You don't have to take your belt off.
Mm.
It's like before 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
You just walk through the scanner.
Right.
You don't have to stand there and
right.
Whatever the thing's called.
Oh, that's so fun though.
So like you've been vetted through the pre-check process, and they treat you like you've been pre-vetted, and getting through security is just quicker.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times the lines are shorter. You don't have to take off your shoes. The whole process is just faster.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. So when you book your tickets, you put your known traveler number, I think it's KTN known traveler number in there.
Yeah.
And then on your tickets, it'll say, or on your boarding pass in the app, it'll say TSA Pre-Check on it.
Yeah.
And you can use that line.
Oh,
I had to drive to Evansville from here, 45 minutes. I had to fill out a form. I was questioned, and I had to pay a fee, and that was it. So
yeah.
It took a couple of hours, and I waited years too long to go through that process.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad. I wish I would have done it earlier.
Right.
Like it saves me time every time I travel, and I love saving time.
Oh, it'd be so good for me too, because I'm late to a lot of things. I've got time blindness. It's a symptom of the ADHD, which is something I've gotten a lot better at. It's good to know so that you can really make an effort to fix it rather than use it as an excuse.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I will cut things super close. And the last time I flew was from Chicago to here on the direct flight. Right?
Yeah, to Owensboro, like small town airport. Yeah.
Yes, to Owensboro. So in the airport, you have to go through security. Then you go to the gate, and then at the gate, they put you on a bus that takes you to the plane that flies you here. So, and it's, they just did that direct flight within the last, I think the first one was in August.
Yeah.
Right? And I took it. and went to Chicago, tied up some things for the condo, and then flew back down. And I was running behind. And I go up to the desk and I'm like, hey, are we good? She's like, you're not going to make it. I was like, can you give me my ticket and just let me try? She's like, okay, but you're not going to make it. And I go to the security and I'm waiting through security, right? Just, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. Finally get through and they have to double check my bag. So I'm standing there. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to make it. Finally, I get all my stuff. My shoes are back on. My belt's back on. And I just run as fast as possible to the furthest freaking gate.
Of course. It's the furthest gate.
It's so I'm like, oh, G's are here. And then you turn the corner and it's like G25, which is way down there. And I'm running. Finally get to a place that has an escalator that goes down. And there's a guy up there that goes, Mr. Barron? I was like, yes. He's like, down here. Like, he was like, apparently that lady called and said, he's coming, but he's not going to make it. And they were waiting for me, even though it was like 10 minutes past time to get there. And I'm running, like a guy is there at the top of the stairs to point me down there. And I go down there. There's somebody else that goes, Mr. Barron, this way. Like just pointing, and I'm running.
Mr. Barron twice.
Yeah, Mr. Barron twice, yes. And they're calling my name on the thing, right? Like last call for, Timothy Barron. So it was like everybody knows who I am at this moment. Finally, I make it as the last two people are getting on that bus to go, that little bus, and I go in and everybody on the bus is clapping and I am more out of breath than I've ever been, like full on sprint for 10 minutes, but I made it. And then we got to the plane and went, and it was just really, I love getting clapped at,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that was really cool.
They had an audience waiting for you.
Yeah, there's a whole audience waiting to see me with my Mariano's bag and my backpack. I didn't check anything. So I'm carrying all that too. Nothing's on wheels. So yeah, pre-TSA, that sounds nice.
Pre-check, baby.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Now, you have to be careful with the kind of tickets that you buy, and I'm learning this, okay, because of all these 220 trips, a lot of them I've driven, but like almost probably 80% of those flights have been Southwest flights. Okay.
So that's what you're talking about with ticket, like what airline to choose?
Yeah, well, I'm going to get back to it.
Okay.
So like the unique thing about Southwest is you don't have like first class tickets. You don't have, like, they have different levels, but it has mostly to do with like how many points you're going to get and where in line do you get to board.
Okay.
But you don't choose your seats
ahead of time.
You
choose when you get on, yeah.
So most of the time I just get the cheap tickets when I fly Southwest. They don't charge you for checked bags. They don't, there's not all these other fees. They're generally really friendly and funny. I just enjoy the culture of the airline. Now our brother is a pilot for Southwest. It's like I got a lot of love for Southwest.
Yeah.
But they're not a great option for some of the places that I want to go. Sometimes I can save 4 hours if I fly American or Delta or United or something like that.
So, basically, because those would go nonstop where Southwest wouldn't in those particular destinations.
Yeah, or maybe another reason, but
yeah.
Yes, basically. They just, the timing wise, just works better on it. And I'm not so loyal that I'm willing to, like I said at the beginning, I want the travel to happen as quickly and as comfortably as possible. So because I'm used to buying the cheap tickets on Southwest, I've been buying the cheap tickets on American and United and Delta when I have to fly those as another option. So I took Ben, my 17-year-old son, I take him to New Orleans a handful of months ago, and we go to the Giants Saints game.
Right. Yeah.
And we flew Delta, and we got the cheap tickets. Now, I just assumed that, I'm not getting anything special.
Right.
But I show up to the airport, and I don't have my seat assignments. I've got a boarding pass, but it doesn't have the seat assignment, and that's a little weird. So I go check in at the gate. She's like, "Oh, I'll give you those now." But because of the ticket that you bought, you don't get to choose them ahead of time.
Oh.
I was like, oh, okay. Well, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Short flight, Nashville and New Orleans, less than 2 hours. If we didn't sit next to each other, he's my 17-year-old son.
Right.
That might have annoyed him a little bit, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Maybe he would have preferred that.
Maybe. Actually, he did not act like he liked the idea.
Of not sitting with you?
Yeah, we did end up sitting together.
Yeah.
Which of course I preferred.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, on the way back, same cheap tickets. We have to check out of the hotel at by 11. And we've got 4-5 hours to kill before our flight. I really didn't think this one through. So here we are at the airport, and I'm like, well, let's just go to the Delta Sky Lounge or whatever it's called.
Right.
That nice area that you can buy a day pass for.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I were a Delta Diamond Premier Double Black Super Special VIP or whatever
Triple D, baby.
I could just walk right in there.
It's the big D. Diamond Delta.
Yeah. But normally you can just buy a day pass. $50, $75. We got 4 or 5 hours to kill. I'm on a trip with my son.
Yeah.
Let's do it in a little bit of style. So I walk in there. I like to get us 2 day passes. She says, can I see your ticket? I give her my ticket. She's like, you can't get a day pass with this ticket.
Oh.
I'm like, what do you mean? She says, well, this ticket doesn't allow for that.
You're trash, sir.
And I'm
You're
like,
trash.
I'm thinking
you're just stanky garbage, you and your son.
It felt a little bit like that. It was like, I'm trying to give you money.
Right.
For space up there that is available.
Right.
I'm trying to give your airline money.
Right.
And because I had the cheapest ticket, so I was a little bit confused. So then I went up to the gate.
You had to go to the Wahlburger for 3 hours.
So then I go to the gate and I'm like, there's an earlier flight to Nashville than the one we're on. Can we, is there a room over there? She looks at, yeah, there's a few seats. We can probably get you on there. And she looks at my ticket. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. You can't change flights with this ticket.
Oh.
It's like, can't? It's like, this ticket that you bought doesn't allow for you to change your flight.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
I was like, tell me what the fee is.
Right.
I'll pay. No. Nothing. And then
you peasant.
Yeah.
You stinky,
and I'm sitting here thinking,
peasant.
I can't change my flight, which they could have charged me for.
Uh-huh.
I can't go to the little lounge area, which I would have paid for.
Right.
And I felt like I was out in the cold.
Right.
I felt like they knew that I much preferred Southwest. And I was slumming with them on their cheap tickets. And they were making me figuratively pay for it.
Bunch of Diamond Delta dicks.
So anyway, I had an American flight after that.
Mm-hmm.
Next trip, had the cheap tickets. Same thing. I could have got home a little earlier on the day I was leaving. I think this was the Tucson trip. And I couldn't change because I had the cheap ticket. It wasn't an option for me. I'm like, what on earth? Anyway, the whole thing surprised me because Southwest has never treated me like that.
No, no, they haven't.
So on some of these flights, here's my point. Just be careful with the tickets that you buy and understand what you can and can't do.
Sure.
Sometimes you're ready to get home and you're willing to pay a little bit to get on an earlier flight or, hang out in the lounge with your boy, and they just flat wouldn't let me. I couldn't believe it.
Where'd y'all end up going? Do you remember?
In the New Orleans airport?
Yeah.
Where did we hang out?
Yeah.
At the Panda Express.
Okay. Yeah.
With all the other common folk.
Oh.
Which was just fine, but Ben was like, I felt like he was looking at me like, I thought you were big time.
Yeah.
You are not big time.
Yeah. I see you outside of Owensboro, Dad.
Yeah. You were right. Your last name really does mean nothing outside of the borough. Yeah.
I could have told him that.
Okay.
Oh boy, we spent about 3 hours at a Wahlburger in Canada.
Oh yeah,
Canada Airport. Yeah, on one of our trips.
Wahlburger.
Yeah, they got delayed because of snow or whatever, so we just kept having beer at Wahlburger. And I realized that this is totally off topic, but I realized that the Wahlburger logo. Can you picture it? It's like a W, like this. I took a picture of it and then put it in a little app so I could draw on it. I added a on top of it.
Of course you did.
It looks like a ball. Anyway, somebody had to sign off on that and approve it. It looks exactly like that.
Yeah. I know what it looks like. Thank you very much.
Wahlburgers. Anyway, there's some brothers. There's some really nice brothers.
All right, next travel tip here. Avoid, especially when in airports, all right, avoid families and follow business-looking people. The people that look like business travelers generally have done this enough, like George Clooney or whatever.
Yep.
They know where to go. So, you spot one of those guys, gals, follow them, avoid the families.
Yeah.
Not be mean to the families or anything, but you end up in a line behind a bunch of families. It's just going to go slower. It's going to be louder.
Right. Right.
Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Also, the thing with the TSA pre-check.
Yeah.
If you're traveling with a minor, they're pre-check because you are.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just recently took a trip. Maybe Ben, because he's still 17. I think he was pre-checked because I was when we went to New Orleans.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, rental cars. Don't always need a rental car, but sometimes you want a rental car.
Right.
Sometimes you don't want to wait on an Uber and you want to have a little bit more control. I generally prefer to have a rental car because I feel like I have more control over my time. And I don't, and being from small town, Uber's not an option here. I don't think Uber is here. I think we have Lyft, but maybe not Uber.
I used Uber to get keys to Tara.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe we do have Uber now, but it's not a great option here.
Right.
There's not a bunch of Uber drivers driving around on Owensboro. So I'm a little less comfortable with it when I know I need to be somewhere at a particular time.
Sure.
I want the control. I'd rather have the rental car.
Sure.
But find the rental car company you like, sign up with them, so I'm Avis preferred, whatever that means. I don't know what I had to do. Maybe it's just because I keep using them. I have preferred status or whatever. But when I show up at an airport, sometimes you just walk to the Avis area and sometimes you got to get on a bus and go to the rental car place or what. But there's a board outside of Avis, and I bet most of these companies have some version of this. So this is not a commercial for Avis. It's just the one I use.
Sure.
But they have a board that has the names of the Avis preferred people and where your car's in.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't have to check in.
Oh,
I don't have
nice.
to talk to anybody. I just walk to that car, drive out, they check it as I exit the parking structure.
Yeah.
I'm done. It just makes it really, really fast. They text me ahead of time when I land.
Yeah.
They'll text me, your car is waiting for you in, this parking spot.
Yeah.
And so I just go straight there. It just cuts out all the waiting in line, and I love that.
That's great.
I love the speed of that. So Enterprise probably does that. The other one's Budget, who knows? But Avis does, and they make it really, really, really easy.
That's
I'm
great.
A big fan of theirs.
I've gotten so upset in Ireland. Do you want to hear something?
Yeah.
Do you know how to drive stick?
Yes.
When did you learn? Did you know that at a super young age? I was never taught stick.
I don't know how I learned.
When you were 16 or 17, did they have automatic cars already?
Yes.
Okay.
And they were probably the majority.
Yeah, okay.
But the truck I got when I was 18 was a Ford Ranger.
Yeah.
And it was a stick.
Oh, okay.
And the next car I got was a Honda Civic. It was a stick.
So
I enjoyed.
Yeah. I never did. I've never, well, I have now, but I'd never driven stick ever. And for anybody who's traveling overseas, they're all sticks.
Really?
Yes, the majority of them are sticks, manual, not automatic. So when I was going to rent a car, I did it online, right? We're going to show up, and it's a stick. The automatic was way more expensive. Or I think I figured that out before we got there. I was like, okay, we're going to have to drive a stick, I think, like to afford this. So I looked at a few YouTube videos just to understand the mechanics of it, but did not get behind.
Can Tara drive a stick?
Her mom didn't let her drive her car ever. And you didn't really need a car. And then she was in Dublin. So she's one of those, never got a license, didn't need it. So I will be the one that's driving. I have the license at the time. This is before kids. We go there. I get in the car, and I didn't even think about this either. The driver's seat is on the other side.
That's what I was just thinking through. Like, how difficult would it be to drive a stick with my left hand?
This is, yes, driving a stick with your left hand for the first time in a country where they're on the opposite side that we drive on. And I'm there in the parking lot like,
train wreck.
And I couldn't even get the car started. Someone had to come, like some random person. No one was there to help us. I couldn't get this out of the parking spot. I couldn't get it to work. Someone showed us that you got to take the safety brake off, right? You don't have to do that here unless you're on a hill. So there's that safety brake. I couldn't get out, but I learned it so quick. It's
fun to drive that way, I thought.
It was really fun, but I had to focus on doing that, plus driving on the opposite side of the road.
Yeah, that's too much to think about.
It was just a lot. I nailed it. Nailed it. Once I figured out how to get out of the parking spot. But anyway, that's a little fun fact about traveling abroad. Not with abroad.
I heard you.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Just one more tip when it comes to hotels. So, I keep looking at your
Wahlburger.
Unbelievable. Okay, put it down.
I didn't draw the rest of what I did before, but
so glad. Thank you
right
for that.
There. Look, happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. Now it's a heart.
Okay, that's great.
Or a butt.
Okay. Check in to hotels early through their app. Here's why you want to do that. Like most of the time, 24 hours early, you can go ahead and check in. The hotel knows you're coming. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, like through the Hilton app, you can choose your room that you want. If you don't do that, this is what could happen. One time I'm going to Raleigh. This is when I was at the Mossmo Group. Mm-hmm. And my flight was delayed. I think I was coming from Chicago, I think. And weather, flooding, everything was backed up. I get to Raleigh at like 1 a.m. Raleigh is not a 24-hour town. And finally I don't remember if it was an Uber or a rental car. I think I had to take an Uber because there was a huge flood, and all the rental cars, because all the water damage to people's cars, the insurance company's insurance coverage had pretty much rented out all the...
Yeah,
so I couldn't get a rental car. Uber, I get to the hotel at like 2 a.m.
Oh.
And because I was so late checking in, they had rented out my room.
Oh.
I had a reservation confirmed.
Yeah.
But I didn't actually check in on time. I didn't give them a heads up that I was still, in fact, coming. Oh. And so they released the room. I think that's normal practice.
Right.
And the guy in front of me, when I was waiting to check in, got the last room in the place.
Oh, Toby.
Yeah, let's call him Toby.
I'll call him Toby. So, hey, I've got a spare bed in my room, Michael. You could, stay with me. I'd rather die.
So what happened was the woman at the desk, 1, she felt terrible. 2, she was super nice. And 3, she started calling around to other hotels, trying to find me a room. There were none.
Yeah.
There were none in anywhere remotely close, like within
no stables
30
either?
minutes.
No stables?
No.
There's no room in the inn?
Mm-mm. No room in the inn.
Yeah, no stables.
So she basically lets me hang out in the lobby.
Yeah.
And I waited until about 6, probably about 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God.
As soon as somebody checked out, she left, cleaned the room real quick, and checked me into that room.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So like she went over the top. That's
right.
not her job. And I got a couple hours of sleep before I had to go over to the Massimo group and start work. I think
my goodness.
Called Rod at about 6 a.m. or whatever, right before I was going to go to bed. Told him what happened. He's told me to come in at 10 instead of 8 or whatever. I got a little sleep and then went over there. So check in to your hotels early so they know you're coming.
Right.
And if you're delayed, like give them a heads up. Most of the time you can do that through the app and you don't have to worry. But that was a long night.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Man, that's my travel tips.
That's good. Mine would have been about finding the cheapest ticket because that I'm really good with. Yeah. But we'll save that for another time, or for my podcast. Well, I think I'm gonna start saying that
for my podcast.
I'll save this for my podcast. Yeah.
Well, let's holler at Jay.
Yeah.
And have him come on and react. To these things.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to do some shout-outs?
Yeah, let's do some shout-outs.
All right, what we got?
Well, firstly, on the very first episode that we mentioned, if you leave a comment, we will give you a shout-out. We got at the Justin Ryder. Big shout-out for leaving us a comment there. Comment was awesome. Who else you got? You got a list of some people.
Well, we got Haley K or Haley Keene from the Tripwire podcast.
Ooh,
said she'd love to get a shout out, and she's given me a couple shout outs on the Tripwire, so it's really cool to pay that back. So thank you, Haley.
Yes.
Also got an awesome comment from Jonathan Pavlik, who sent us a real nice message about loving our podcast. So thank you so much for that. We love hearing that.
Mm-hmm. We've got Betty G.
Betty G reached out. She actually wants you to help her start her own podcast, Loves Ours. So
I can do that.
That's good. And then my buddy Chad Grout at his company Urban Grout in Nashville loved my pocket square.
Oh, yeah.
That was nice.
It was a great pocket square. It really was.
Yeah. And then we also have
reviews.
Yeah.
Yes. At the end of these episodes, we ask you all to leave a review. It really helps us out if you leave a review on the podcast platform that you are looking at or listening to or watching. If you're on YouTube, please hit subscribe. That also helps a great deal in this world. But I want to give a shout out to everyone who's left a review on Apple Podcasts. Ninja Realtor, which
is our buddy Nima.
Yeah, Nima.
You got to meet him.
Nima's great. And the stuff he's putting out on
it's good
on Instagram is great. So it's a lot of residential, but now he's moving into
more
commercial, but really great content. So go. I think he's Ninja Realtor on Instagram.
I believe so.
I'll fix it and post if that's wrong, but we'll throw that up there. But he said this podcast has easily become my top 3. Bo and Timmy's personalities come together like a yin yang, which makes it more fun to listen to. And he goes on and on. It's great. Big shout out to ATL Investor. I'm not sure who that is. Maybe you do. Great mix of humor and content. Thank you so much for that. A+ content from A Holt CPA. A Holt CPA. Do you know who that is? Thank you so much for the review. Great show. Funny, very educational, practical. Been working in CRE for 10 plus years and just got turned on to this podcast after taking my first CCIM class in June.
Nice.
And now slowly working my way through the whole back catalog. Goes on and on. That's so nice. And then Kevin L. Watt. WATT.
Oh no, I know. Yeah, I know.
You know, Kevin. Yeah.
Yep.
Enjoyable, informative, and entertaining.
Down in Florida.
Yeah. Thank you so much for these reviews. Not only do it makes us feel all warm and fuzzy, but it really, really does help with what we're trying to do. Get it to more ears that could really benefit from what Bo teaches me. So, so please leave a review if you can. Just take a minute, whichever platform, and we will shout out every single one until there's too many to shout out, which at some point might. But thank you all so much for all the kind words.
I agree.
Hit that subscribe button. Cool.
Okay.
I love you, brother.
Love you, man.
Happy birthday. Happy Valentine's.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Bye, Alice. Bye, Alice. Hey.